It's May the 7th, 2025. I am at Joel Pearl, thejoelpearl.com on Blue Sky, and it's time to get in the weeds. A wonderful Wednesday morning. The sun is shining. It's beautiful here in the city of Toronto. We're going to get a nice warm day today, so I'm happy about that. I'm back, baby. And with me always someone who I really respect. I really appreciate his work. He's an amazing talent. Lambert Jeremy is with me this morning. How you doing, Mr. Jeremy? First name Lambert.
I was gonna make a joke about I worked with Dave Meltzer. He was the first person that I worked with after he finished his run with Wrestling Observer, and they crossed over. They merged with Figure 4 Weekly. Dave and I were the first people to work together.
How'd that go for you?
I don't know if I've told this story on air. This is a true story. This is not a Hulk Hogan story. I gave Dave Meltzer a ride to the arena at Elite XC, Ken Shamrock and Kimbo Slice. Well, it was supposed to be Ken Shamrock and Kimbo Slice. It was not, because for the MMA fans out there, Ken Shamrock got hurt. Something slipped on a banana peel backstage, and he got cut. And he could not fight. And so Seth Petrozelli took his place, and Seth Petrozelli ended up knocking out Kimbo Slice. And that was kind of the end of the Kimbo Slice hype. But I gave him a ride to the arena. I was heading in, and I saw him walking to the arena. I think he just got dropped off by an Uber or a Lyft, or I assume it was Uber back then. This was a while ago. I'm terrible with time, but it had to be 2011-ish, maybe even before that.
I don't even think Lyft was around. When did Uber start?
I don't know. Maybe it was just a taxi. Remember those things? Maybe it was just a taxi.
I've been told taxis are still in service. People use them.
So anyway, I saw him got dropped off, and it was a way out from the arena, and there was still more walking distance to go. So I just saw him. I was like, "Hey, Dave, I'm Jeremy." I'd emailed him before. I was working for 411 Mania at the time. Shout out to Larry Zonka, RIP. I was working for 401, and this was my first event that I'd covered for in any capacity. So I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And so I emailed Dave, and I was like, "Hey, Dave, my name's Jeremy. I don't really know what the protocol is. I'm not really sure how all this works. Can you just help me out a little bit?" And he sent me a nice message back, "Oh, this is typically how it goes." I'll appreciate it. And so I saw him get dropped off at the arena, and I was like, "Hey, Dave, I'm Jeremy. I emailed you. Do you need a ride to the door of the arena, so you don't have to walk another half mile or whatever it was?" He's like, "Yeah, sure, thanks." So I took Dave, and we went into the media entrance together, and that was that. I think that's my only interaction with Dave Meltzer.
You didn't share a wonderful Italian meal somewhere?
No, none of that.
No continent hopping with him.
No, there's my Dave Meltzer story for everybody.
Uber started in 2009.
Okay.
Lyft started in 2012. So it actually could have been either or if you were that early.
This show was, I'm looking up Kimbo Slice here. 2008. So I was way off.
2008 was a taxi.
Yeah, it was a taxi.
Or a fan.
October 2008. Elite XC Heat. For those who remember the days of the Elite XC.
You think Dave took rides from fans?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I feel like the fan dropping him off that far away was pretty shitty of them.
That's true. Well, what if they were actually wrestling fans? They're like, "Oh, you're going to MMA? Get out."
I assume this person was also going to the MMA. I don't know. I don't know. It was 2008. It was freaking 20 years ago almost. I'm old.
I'd love to see a conversation with you and Dave now. Just being, remember the time I dropped you off at LFC? I remember that time. Brian, let me tell you about this story.
Well, I got dropped off at the arena a little ways out, and Jeremy picked me up, and it was a good conversation that we had heading into the arena. It was good. And then we watched Elite. Oh, let me tell you about Kimbo Slice and Seth Petrozelli. My God, what a moment that was in MMA history. It was so crazy backstage, you know, like Kimbo Slice, he was preparing for Ken Shamrock, and you know, all of a sudden Ken Shamrock got hurt, and Seth Petrozelli, he stepped in, and like Seth Petrozelli, wow, like Seth Petrozelli knocked him out in 14 seconds, and like the call by Gus Johnson, Rocky is in the building, you know, like what a moment.
And you know, someone had called me before to tell me that the match was going to be was going to be a real barn burner, and you know what, I believe them. I thought that was going to be like that, and next thing you know, it turned out to be what it was.
Barn burner. I don't think Dave uses the word barn burner.
Well, he used to love the Cow Palace. That was just a giant barn.
So here's another funny story about that show. My parents went to this show with me. They were very supportive of me, and so I'm on Media Row and everything, and I'm getting all the scoops on the Media Row. So I knew, me and the rest of the media members knew that Petrozelli was out of the fight, or sorry, Ken Shamrock was out of the fight before like it was announced to the arena or on the broadcast or anything, because we had heard the murmurs on Media Row and stuff. And then I met with my parents at the concessions, because they bought tickets to the event. I met with them at the concessions and was talking to them, and I was telling my dad, oh yeah, like I don't think Ken Shamrock is going to fight. My lovely wife has brought me water because doing a Dave Meltzer impression has choked up my throat here.
Of all things, huh?
Yeah. So I'm telling my dad, I'm like, yeah, I don't think Ken Shamrock's gonna fight. I think that like he's out and he's gonna be replaced, and they haven't announced. My dad's like, oh, that's interesting or whatever. And so my dad goes back to his seats and he tells everybody around him, he's like, Ken Shamrock's out of the fight. And everybody around him, this is my dad's recollection of the story, everybody's around like, no, you're lying. Like, this guy, the meme, this guy doesn't know anything. What are you talking about? And my dad's like, no, my son told me like Ken Shamrock's out of the fight. And then, of course, like a couple hours later, they announced Ken Shamrock's out of the fight. And all of a sudden, my dad is like a hero to these people in the section. Like my dad's got all the scoops all of a sudden. And he's like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about here. Like, look at him. So my parents are always very proud of me when it came to that stuff. My dad's a scoopster. He was a scoopster at the Elite XC Heat event.
The man had absolutely everyone just under his thumb. He knew everybody. He walked backstage famously and told Ken, not on my watch.
My dad, the scoopster, in Miami, Florida in October 2008.
Yeah, that's not a place you want to be. Anytime. People were talking. So the Leafs are playing the Panthers right now, right? Or not literally right now, but in the playoffs. And there was an article that went out saying, oh, if you're a Torontonian and you want to get cheap playoff tickets, go to Florida. Because like everything is apparently cheap. You can get a cheap flight, get a cheap hotel, and the tickets are cheaper. Because here in Toronto, like it's WWE pricing for these. It's WrestleMania pricing for the playoffs. It's insane. I would never go because I'm not an idiot. So other people are also thankfully not idiots and are saying things like, "No, we're not going all the way to Florida for this shit. There's no reason to, shell out for a ticket and go to Florida." And I'm like, yeah, it's right. Even the best of times, you don't go to Florida. Now you don't go for hockey. Trust me, it's not even worth it. Go watch the Florida Panthers at home. Woof. It's the same goal horn, though. Maybe that's Tampa. I think Tampa has the same goal horn as Toronto. These are things that I think about, by the way. Goal horns. People have similar goal horns across the NHL.
I don't know what that is.
You know when they score a goal and the horn goes off?
Nope.
No, never heard of it. Okay, just making sure. Yeah.
I don't watch other sports, Joel. I only watch professional wrestling. I don't know what these other sports are.
What are you, me? Yeah. At best, you get baseball and then playoff hockey for me.
I don't watch sports.
Never heard of them. I hear you. This TV's been off since 2012.
I follow Kendrick Lamar's advice and I turn the TV off.
That's true. I don't have a TV. It's just sitting there.
I'm going to Kendrick Lamar in like a month.
That's right. That's exciting. Weren't you going to go see Eminem at one point?
No, I want to see Eminem.
You
but
want
he doesn't tour.
Oh, he was doing like minimal stuff. He was doing little pop outs here and
He
there.
went to like Saudi and did a show, and that's like it. No, he does like one-off shows, and that's like all he does. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, he makes a surprise appearance at the Kendrick concert because it is in Detroit, and Kendrick did bring out Playboy Cardi at the Atlanta show, which gives me a little bit more hope that he might have a special guest in Detroit. It's going to end up being like Royce, which is fine. I like Royce the 5'9", but that's my hope. I'm excited to see Kendrick in a month, though.
You got to survive Friday, though.
I got to survive Friday. I don't know what the hell I'm going to see on Friday.
You're going to have such a good time on Friday. You know why you're going to have such a good time? Because your wife is going to have such a good time, and that will make you smile. She's going to be in the pit with it, getting crushed all about. I know she's not. That's the best part. She's about to text me, be like, "What is wrong with you?" But you guys are gonna have a fun time. It's gonna be a good show. Go enjoy it.
It's a whole festival. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. She's like mapped it all out of like, this band is on this stage at this time, and this band. I was like, okay. She's like, do you want to see this? I was like, I don't know who the hell these people are, baby. Like, I don't. She's reading off these band names, and I'm like, sure. I don't know. Like, whatever you want to see. That's all I care about. Whatever you want to see. ICP is going to be there. Fuck ICP. Buy my CD. I don't care to see them.
GCW is going to show up and brawl with them on stage.
That'd actually be pretty sweet. But then, like, that would suck. No, you know what? That would actually suck because, like, then it would, like, bring work to when I'm supposed to be away from work. So that would kind of suck.
That's true. And immediately, by the way, your wife did, in fact, message me and say, I will absolutely not be in the pit. Have you seen me? That's kind of the best part. People in the pit are all shapes and sizes.
She got bruised up, like, trying to get a bottle out of the cabinet. Like, she just like banged her arm on the fridge. Like, you know, we got a cabinet overneath our fridge, or overneath. I don't know if that's a word, but sure.
Over top our fridge.
Overneath. I'm inventing words. So and like she like reaches up to get it because, you know, God forbid she asks the taller person to be like, hey, can you get this down for me? So she like jumps up to get it and bangs her arm on the fridge and gets a bruise on her arm. What are you doing? What are you doing, baby?
She's just trying to get ready for Friday. Get the bruises now so that they don't, you know, they don't show off later. You'll be okay. You'll have a good time. Bring earplugs.
Nah, like I'm not gonna bring earplugs. I'm not a coward.
Your wife is a cat.
A cat?
The response was yes. Rather than ask my tall husband, I jump and swipe at the cabinet until I knock over what I want.
Yeah.
It's effectively a cat.
Oh, sure.
It's better than my kid who was smacking me in the face yesterday. So I was away. I've been away on and off. I
running from the grind.
I know y'all will say that. Obviously, I was in Vegas first, and then I got sick as a dog, and then we went to Ottawa this past weekend to go see my mom and to pull the curtain back. So it's been a year since my dad passed, a little over that. And in Jewish tradition, after 1 year, you have the tombstone unveiling. He's already buried. He's in the ground. They put a kind of a grave marker until 1 year when they put up a proper tombstone. So the unveiling is part of the process of like to signify the end of the mourning period, which I've been pretty open about here. So we went to Ottawa for that, and they did it on the Sunday. It was a beautiful day, thankfully, because then the rain came the next couple of days. But it was nice to see family, but my kid has been so out of his own routine, and he's a very routine oriented type, that he wasn't sleeping well, he wasn't napping, he was just having not a great time. So we actually came home a day early. We were supposed to be on the road today, and instead we decided to come home yesterday, which ended up being probably the best because just he needed it. He needed sleep. He crashed when we got home, and it was one of those things. But I'm here. I'm back. There's no travel for the foreseeable future on my end, other than I'm going possibly to TNA Under Siege if they pull up their britches and figure out what that show's supposed to be. And that's here. That's in Toronto, in the Greater Toronto area. So
that show looks like it sucks.
I don't know what else they're going to announce. They're doing a dog collar match this week between Macklin and EY, and I was like, why isn't this a match on your PLE, on your plus show?
Because, You know what they
nothing
should
else.
You know what they should do?
What's that?
I think they taped it because you saw they're banning blood.
Yeah.
So they should do the show. It airs tomorrow. But like have the like giant censor block over their faces.
Big blue.
Yeah, so like you can't see the blood. It's like not the blue, like the big black like block.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
South
But
Park, how South Park cut out Muhammad.
Yeah.
That's what they should do for this match.
You put a lot of stock into the TNA post-production team. They're very good at what they do, given the resources that they have. This is one thing I don't know if they can pull off so quickly.
I think that would rule. What do you mean so quickly? They've had a week to do this.
Believe me, that's too much time for them.
Cowardly.
It never works that well
to do this.
Anyway, speaking of cowardly not to leave a thumbs up on the video, so go ahead, leave one right now. Get the pyro and the ballyhoo going. Let's go. Yeah, see, it's faster when I'm here. That's what she said. And then also you can subscribe to the channel. We always appreciate when you subscribe to Fightful Overbooked, and you can donate a super chat. Any Mac, get your question, statement around the air, and of course carries our conversation and dictates where we go. Volib sent one, and I'm going to ask you what you're laughing about in a second. Volib said, vanilla fumble is what we call when Joel doesn't run from the grind. That's right. I am vanilla, and you can never fumble me. What are you laughing about? What were you cackling about?
I'm vanilla, baby.
Thank you. I gotta remember to hit that when Vala sends a super chat. So that's the new bit. Oh, I'm laughing about something that will make no sense to anybody else. It's an inside thing between me and the infamous Sammer. I messaged him earlier about something like a decade-old joke, and he just messaged me back about it. So I'm not going to explain it to everybody. Sorry.
Good. Don't ever acknowledge jokes. Don't ever let them talk.
It just popped me. It was very funny that he messaged me. What he messaged me. So sorry, everybody. Y'all are not on the inside of this, and it would take too long to explain.
All right, don't be a coward. But if you press the thumbs up button several times, just make sure you press it an even number of times. Oh, maybe it's an odd number of times. 1, 3. Yeah, an odd number of times. Make sure you press it an odd number of times, because the first time is the one you want, and then it's 3, 5. Anyway, I'm done. I'm not into math, Jeremy. I don't do math very well.
Fair.
Where should we start? I don't even know where to start.
Trick Williams. So
let's be upfront. There isn't much to put out there in terms of like what happened in the last 24 hours in wrestling, and this happens frequently with our Wednesday shows. Either something happens or nothing happens, or something happens in the middle of our show where we put some sort of filler thumbnail in place. I gotta hope something happens between now and noon Eastern. Trick.
So Joel messages like, what should the thumbnail be? And I said Elijah. I thought this was the biggest thing that happened, and you were cowardly, and you didn't go with Elijah.
No thanks.
Let me catch you up on the shows, Joel. This is what we should actually do, because I've had some great booking ideas. Me and SP3 have had some great booking ideas over the last couple of days. SP3 hasn't been a fan of some of mine, but
really could never tell when it comes to your ideas to SP3. He's a little different than the way we are when we book things.
Nah, SP3's on the same way. Like he gets it.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not burying him. I'm just saying we have different.
You should bury him. He buries you all the time.
I know.
Fight back, coward.
I do fight back, and then he gets all, we love Joel, and I'm like, all right, fine, whatever, in the chat. And then he comes on the show on the next day, and he's just like, I hate Joel. He sucks. Yeah. And it's like, what are we doing here? Are we friends? Are we frenemies? Or are we foes who don't talk? And then we get a TNA pay-per-view, and suddenly I'm on True Heel Heat again.
Super breaking news. ROH TV will air Friday at 7 o'clock instead of tomorrow at 7, because Collision is at 7 or at 8. So I guess they don't want to, God forbid, they just do like a 1-hour ROH show leading into Collision.
Deonna Purrazzo, Jay Lethal, is that Layla Gray? Marina Shafir, and Vanilla Baby. Those are your front line for episode 115 of ROH.
They can air this show whenever they want. It's a taped show. Just air it at 6 o'clock on Thursday. Or again, make it 1 hour. No one wants to sit through 2 hours of ROH. Knock it off.
I don't even know if we're doing a TNA post show on Thursday because of the Collision deal. I got a message from Cresta. She's like, what are we doing? And I was like, oh shit, that's right. Part of me wants to do a TNA post show because the dog collar match. Another part of me doesn't because Under Siege looks like a dog shit show.
Is Under Siege this week? When's Under Siege?
No, Under Siege is the same weekend as Battleground. And when we talk about the trick stuff, it's all like, what are we doing here? What is this in service of? It's very strange. I get what they're doing, but it's still very strange. Yeah. Ring of Honor. There you go. Friday. And it'll be on the ROH YouTube channel for those who are so inclined to watch and don't want to pay the $10 for ROH Honor Club.
Okay.
Ring of Honor Club.
Oh, gosh.
It's the club of a lot of matches.
At least you're putting it on YouTube. How's that TV deal going for them?
I don't know. Maybe these 5 people at the front of the image are gonna bring the TV deal.
I mean, they should 100% start building more around Blake Christian.
And Deanna, for that matter. She really does deserve to be that person.
Did you notice that the AEW Collision ratings fell off a cliff without Blake Christian on the show?
That is true.
Did a million last week, and now this past week they did like 300,000. No one watched. They were like, Blake Christian's on the show. Nah, not watching.
Didn't he have a backstage thing? Didn't he approach people like crew? Didn't he do something backstage?
He didn't wrestle.
Yeah, he didn't wrestle, but he had like a 10-second cameo. Maybe they got the spike there.
Didn't wrestle.
We'll get the minute by minutes and then we'll report back. I watched Collision. I know you guys talked about it. I thought Collision was fine. I know everyone was excited about the Toni Storm promo at the end of her match. Thought it was good. You weren't a big fan of the Danny Garcia promo / whatever was going on.
Yeah.
And there was actually, I have to agree to some of that. And I actually want to add one more thing. Oh, right. Henry's pointing out that Blake Christian wasn't promoted. Therefore, it was a surprise and not everyone knew. That's a very good point. That's true. If you promote him, then the numbers do come. That is true.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah, he's true. The Danny Garcia thing, the one thing that kind of went under people's radar was it was inadvertently done, but he kind of gave away that FTR was going to win the 2 out of 3 falls match. Because in that promo, he says like, and after your match, I'm going to come and talk to you. I'm like, well, he's not going to talk to 2 guys who just got beat. So for me, I was like, all right, well, that just kind of took the wings out of my sails because I was interested in the 2 out of 3 falls tag match. And it was good. It was very good. But to me, it's like, well, now the outcome's not so much in depth for me anymore. I thought, honestly, the wrestling was good. The matches, they always perform well. I never worry about the quality of the professional wrestlers doing the professional wrestling. I know people are enjoying the X amount of money matches. I'm also worried that it's going to start becoming kind of like the Casino Gauntlet, where we just keep relying on that trope until someone says no more. It seems to be like that's a Tony thing where like it's like, oh, they like it, let's do it again. Oh, they liked it, let's do it again. And then eventually someone's like, Tony, please stop. He's like, all right, we'll put it away for a while, and then we'll bring back.
No, they got to keep doing these matches, and it leads to somebody wins. I don't care who. You actually make it someone like worthwhile.
Best I can do is Speedball.
Now that I think about it, and then Tony can't pay them. No, not Speedball. No, it's got to be a heel. But Tony can't pay them. That's where it leads to. And so this heel, like Christian would actually be great in this role. Like Christian is like, where's my $100,000? And Tony is like, well, I didn't properly budget. You see, we were actually operating in the red on these. I've given away over $100 million. This is way down the road. Or they just do these matches like twice every show. That's fine. I've given away like $100 million on these matches, and I didn't have the 100,000 to pay you. And then Christian is like, if I wanted to work for somebody who was going to bounce checks, I would have signed with ECW in the 90s. You got to make an ECW reference, especially because they come into 2300 arena. And then Christian can like hold up Tony for money And maybe the Christian get a title shot out of this. Maybe he gets the ROH pencil and then he can give it to me out of this. Let's call back to yesterday's show. Like, I think you could get something out of this, but like Tony does it so often that he can no longer pay these people. This is how AEW is going to go broke. This is all the grifters out there. This is how AEW eventually just goes broke. They just keep doing these $100,000 matches, and all of a sudden they have no more money to give anybody. Why don't you spend $100,000 on Jack Harlow, Tony? Huh? Did you do that?
Someone's gonna ask that in Phoenix.
No one's gonna ask.
I really wish I was going just to ask.
They gotta ask Tony when they're coming back to Phoenix, or how good Phoenix was to them, or maybe they'll ask about Dean too. That's actually a worthwhile question. But
will people know that Dean 2 is happening?
I would hope so. It's a free show. It's happening like the night before, day before. So I would hope so.
I guess we'll find out when we. I don't even know if anyone's going from Fightful officially.
Nah.
Do we have anyone who lives out that way in Phoenix, near Arizona,
on the West Coast?
Jeff Hawkins, where are you at? I hope you're well. He sent us some love. That was nice. Someone had mentioned, Zeno Hour just mentioned, that the Golden Globes are introducing a best podcast category next year.
That sounds terrible.
I just found it. The Golden Globes did tweet, mic drop, we have a new Golden Globes category, best podcast. This new award will debut with the 83rd Golden Globes, January 11, 2026. Folks,
Joe Rogan's going to win this shit. Like, what are we doing?
I'm starting this now. Everybody go on your social media of choice and vote in the weeds and use the hashtag ITWFYC in the weeds for your consideration. ITWFYC. None of this busted open 24/7 bullshit. No. No, in the weeds, FYC. ITWFYC. Go use the hashtag right now. We're going to win this thing. We're going to go to the Golden Globes. We're going to get a hot tub. We're going to do interviews on Media Row in our hot tub. And then we're going to win Best Podcast at the Golden Globes. And no one's going to have any idea why we're there. And neither will we. But guess what? We'll be there as long as we're nominated.
Joe Rogan is 100% winning this podcast.
Yeah, he's probably going to win it.
Telling everybody now. He's going to win this thing.
Think it's going to be a state-sponsored Golden Globes this year?
Nah.
Oh, dear. Yeah, it's like 13 saying. I assume it's going to go to one of those post-HBO show podcasts. Talking Dead. Is that still a thing?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe, but I don't think so.
Talking Bad. People remember that one? Was that Breaking Bad's post-show? I remember watching that.
Should we put together like a reel?
Yes.
Submit?
Yes, we should put together a reel. If someone where's Louis? Where's Louis? We need a reel, Louis. I know you do us proud.
What moments could we like include on this?
I know you assholes are gonna say the masterpiece segment.
Oh, 100%. That's gotta be there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's gotta be there. I feel like me, I've done some stupid things on this show. Yeah, cake being thrown in my face, cranberry sauce being dumped on me. That was a good one. Yeah, SP3 Kids. Yeah, Harlem telling him to shut the fuck up. Yeah.
The cuck episode.
The entire cuckening should be on there. Yep. Just all my booking ideas. That'd be a long episode. That'd be a long reel.
Someone putting over partner Pomo punch in the face, which is really just a shame page.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Paul London, just Paul London.
Just Paul London. Yeah. Janela as well.
Just Janela.
His Baywatch 3 pitch. The Taylor Swift episode.
That's right.
People got mad at that one. That was funny.
How could you get mad when somebody does that much work? I love it. I love this idea because it's so awful and it would work. Talking ITW, dissecting these shenanigans on this podcast. That's
terrible.
Sounds delightful.
That sounds awful.
No, you would love it. Oh, the balloon.
Oh, definitely the balloon.
That's it. Yeah. That whole thing was a great moment.
Yeah. Gotta have the balloon there.
We can do it.
I mean, we can. I don't know if it'd be good, but like we can.
Hashtag ITWFYC for your consideration. When Stephanie Becker left CMLL during the show, she didn't physically leave because of our show. She just happened to have left. Joel talking about frame rates. Yeah, that's for the Emmys when we do the technical Emmy submission. This guy knows what he's talking about. No, he does, but no. Shout out to AEW. They're getting their frame rates right again.
Are they?
Yeah, and they're not crossing rates as much anymore. I thought the Moxley thing was going to have that problem, but then they ended up doing pretty well. They did it right. Then they gave Moxley a second promo. We were like, well, okay, that's a thought you had. But otherwise, they've picked up. They've started listening to some of the feedback about how they're presenting things.
I threatened Tony Khan.
Don't put the T at the end of that.
No. I threatened Tony Khan with a gun yesterday. I don't know if
Jesus Christ. That should not be in the reel. That's a great way to get disqualified from, I don't know, life.
I was gonna hold them up for the ROH pencil, so that was the bit.
It's just a black and red pencil.
I just want to book ROH. That's it. Why won't they let me be great, Joel? Why won't they let me book ROH?
You know who could help you get there? One of the only people who watches ROH, and that's Kate.
I don't know if she watches anymore.
That's true. I can't blame her. Although I'm pretty sure she's doing the socials during ROH.
Oh,
she's at least posting things.
Kimmy allegedly watches ROH.
Yeah, she loves to tell me all the time how excited she is that ROH exists.
She lies.
She does lie. She's like, I should be the booker. And I'm like, no. No. She's very excited about this All Elite book, by the way.
Oh, the mana. Yeah, me just
the mana.
Taking shots of mana. Yeah. I got to get more of that stuff.
Where's Micah?
Yeah, we need to drown our sorrows after Saturday. So, Micah, let me know. We gotta figure something out here. I gotta get more mana or something. That was a good bit, but it's gotta be mana for The Rock. He's got to show up on our show.
Yeah, I wonder what we can talk about with The Rock.
My wife just messaged me. Oh no, like I don't.
What? Those lunches were great. And there were some great times after the Mana episodes. I don't remember them, but they happened.
I just get like something new, like after I finish everything out, just Morgan, and then it's like a bottle of Captain Morgan.
Kraken.
JD. Jack Daniels.
I was gonna say, and then the guy from New York shows up, and you're like, "Oh God, go away."
That's not happening.
Probably not. I would stay away from your neck of the woods too.
Nah. That's what I got to do is just get different bottles, start bringing them in.
Molson 50.
I don't know. Like, I don't drink, so I don't know what would even be to drink or anything. So.
Budweiser.
I don't know if I could do I'm not doing beer. I'm 100% not doing beer. Absolutely not. I'll take a shot of something, but I will not do beer.
Manischewitz. This is the worst. Oh, it's coffee.
Don Julio.
Papa Tui. Wait a minute. No, that's not a drink. It is if you try. It's got alcohol content. Oh man, yeah, no one's drinking that beer. All right. So, Joel, do I see you switch between Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi? I do not have loyalty. I have loyalty to the lowest price. That's true. Right now, it's Diet Pepsi because they were on sale this weekend and I was away. Other than that, whatever's on sale is the one that I drink. Or if there's no stock of one, I will drink the other.
That's cowardly. You should be loyal.
Nah, I ain't paying money for that. They ain't paying me for the amount that I drink. I drink a lot. What was?
I only drink water.
Why would you do that? That sounds awful.
Water. That's all this is, everybody.
Yeah, the Utah Mammoths were announced. Someone
Okay.
hinted that was already happening because they changed their Blue Sky or Twitter handle. Good for
Okay.
them. The Utah more mammoths, more Mormons. Anyway, let's talk about some wrestling. Do we have to? I guess we do.
No,
Oh, that's true.
I don't have to. I mean, like, why do we have to?
Well, we're 35 minutes in, and it's kind of a show that does eventually include some wrestling talk.
Oh, all right, fine.
Is Trick Williams about to become the first WWE contracted wrestler to have a TNA championship?
Yes.
Glad we had this chat. See you next week. NXT Battleground is in 3 weeks. No, so for those who watched NXT, which the show people were saying was pretty good. It's pretty good. I thought that NXT was a good wrestling show. The brand of silliness, unfortunately, was lacking for those who like the brand of NXT silliness. But they announced that Joe Hendry would be facing Trick Williams one-on-one for the TNA World Championship at Battleground. They're going to sign the contract next week, and I'm sure nothing will go wrong there. And I'm sure that the people who are fighting together at the TNA Under Siege show 2 days before Battleground, I'm sure they won't be there. Although I'm paying good money to see Frankie Kazarian and Trick Williams interact. That's all I'm here for. This is the only thing I care about with Under Siege. Watching Kazarian and Trick Williams have a conversation. Either way, it's going to be they're going to do that tag match, and Elijah's going to be with Joe Hendry. That's at Under Siege. That's the Friday, and then they tape on Saturday for TV, and then NXT Battleground is live in Florida on the Sunday. There's a lot going on in that weekend, and I'm a little confused and maybe a little annoyed that once again the TNA World Champion is not defending his championship on TNA programming, and instead he's part of a main event tag team to get you ready for the NXT show. But we all know what this partnership is, and we all know what Joe Hendry is in terms of the WWE Universe TNA dynamic. There's a chance that Trick Williams just wins the TNA title. At which point, who knows what you do with that?
I think he is winning the TNA title.
And then what? Does he drop it at the next pay-per-view or the next Plus show? Does he drop it at Slammiversary? Is that how they think they're gonna sell tickets?
I think he is gonna defend it at Slammiversary.
Zeno Hour saying Trick versus Santana makes more sense than Hendry and Santana. You know what makes even more sense than all that? Ali versus Santana for the World Championship, and Ali is the damn champion. But God forbid we do that.
I think Trick's gonna win it, and he might hold it until Slammiversary, or maybe he does lose it to Santana before Slammiversary, and then you do Ali and Santana at Slammiversary in that way. But Santana's the champion, and you do a Trick and Joe rematch at Slammiversary. But I think Trick's gonna be the champ, or Trick's gonna be on Slammiversary, and he might be the champion going into Slammiversary.
So this is where things get even weirder. I don't think Trick's winning, by the way, because of everything I just laid out about tapings. Trick is facing Joe the night after they tape TV. And usually that is about 2, maybe 4 weeks of TV tapings that they cover in a night to get them to the next show. If I'll look at the calendar, but regardless, you're not going to not have Trick on TV unless he's doing I'm only showing up in NXT to defend this title, which is not good and will absolutely not make me want to watch or cover the show if your champion's not going to be on. So I'm curious.
Why they did that with Nemeth?
So, oh Christ, not again. So they're doing the 2-week thing. They did do that with Nemeth. Nemeth went over to Australia instead, or Qatar or something. So they're doing it again, Jeremy. Against All Odds is 2 weeks after Under Siege. Under Siege is May 23rd. Against All Odds is Saturday the 7th. No, sorry. Against All Odds is Friday the 6th.
Of June?
Of June.
Oh, man. So there's a pay-per-view that day. Then there's the Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank.
That's right.
Can wrestling just not?
Is that all in Arizona? No, they're in LA for the Worlds Collide stuff.
Yeah.
For those asking, Slammiversary is July 20th. That's going to be on Long Island. But yeah, so they're doing so basically, oh Christ. So you could have Trick win. But again, you have those 2 weeks of TV tapings where no title will be around.
They can do backstage stuff.
I guess, but like, I don't know, the crowd would maybe like to see somebody.
But otherwise, aren't you sort of telegraphing the end if Joe Hendry comes out and is doing like, this is why it's kind of dumb to tape 2 weeks of television before you're doing a title match, because Joe Hendry is just going to come out and do a segment with the TNA title. And it's like, well, it's a title match. So if they're doing stuff here, is Joe winning? Is he keeping the title because he's coming out here with the title? Maybe they Lex Luger him. They just tape the segments, but then cut it out. They don't actually air those segments.
So they're not going to move. You know what I was asking? Like, is it too late to move the June tapings? No, because they're Tempe against all odds of the 6th, and then they're doing a 2-week taping the 7th, the night after, and then they're going to Pittsburgh. Those tapings are 2 nights of tapings. That covers 4 weeks, and those 4 weeks will take them all the way to Slammiversary. So again, they could do, because it's 2 weeks, like Trick can win and then drop the title at Against All Odds, or he's going to be the TNA World Champion until mid-July. It's going to be the Trick Spring.
I got it, Joel. I got it. So they do the match at Under Siege, the tag team match. Then they do the tapings, right? And then it's the Battleground match the night after that, right? That's the schedule, correct?
They do the Friday night show, and then they tape the Saturday night for 2 weeks, and then it's the Battleground show. Yes.
Okay. So at the tapings, they both have briefcases.
Oh, Christ, no.
And you don't know what's actually in the briefcase. And they just do this whole bit of like, Trick is like, I got the TNA title in here. And Joe's like, no, I have the TNA title in here. So this way, after the match on Sunday, this airs on Thursday. So we still don't know who the champion is. It doesn't give away what the champion is. And then you do this whole briefcase gimmick for 2 weeks. And then you do the rematch at Against All Odds. And it's a briefcase on a pole match. And you get 4 poles. This is Vince Russo.
Sucks.
You get 4 poles with 4 briefcases. And you got to unhook the briefcase and you see what's inside. One's got the title. One's got a picture of Scott Hall. One's got
a turkey suit.
one's got a picture of Booker T. Actually, forget the Scott Hall picture. It's a picture of Booker T instead, because that actually it's a picture of Booker T with the Scott Hall picture. That's what the picture is.
Exception. Great.
Yes.
Oh yeah, man. When you open it, the stupid thing makes the sound too.
Yes. Yeah, you open it, and all of a sudden over the loudspeaker, you just hear, oh yeah. There. That's how you do this. You do the briefcase on a pole match. And then that way you don't give away who wins. I think this is great. This is what should happen.
They're just gonna do like a double pin finish.
That would suck. Don't do that. Don't do a dumb double pin finish. No. Do my idea. It's so much better. Thank you, Richard. Yeah, they came up with the chat. You know, I got the trash can for your bad ideas, Joel. Yep. People want. I need a treasure chest to put my good ideas in. I need to find the kids and get a treasure chest, something to put these good ideas in.
No bread, no water, just Paul. Oh yeah, man. I don't know why he's suddenly.
You have the whitest Booker T impression.
It's like my Mox impression. I just didn't have it. That shit's just.
I'll do that.
That's what he does.
I'll do that.
So not only have they booked themselves into a weird corner with the TNA World Title, They also have to figure out how to do the tag titles because, again, they're going to tape TV for 2 weeks. They're going to have one Hardy and not both in Toronto. And then they're going to do the Against All Odds show in 2 weeks. This is all so backwards. It's all so backwards. I don't know what to think anymore. Other than I don't know if I can keep watching this show sometimes. That dog collar match better really deliver, or else I'm going to spend 20 minutes just burying both men. And I like both men, Eric Young and Steve Macklin. I do not know Jeff's situation when it comes to being allowed or disallowed from entering Canada. I just know that he won't be at the show. At least as of right now, he's not scheduled to be crossing the border. Although who knows? Who knows what tomorrow will bring?
It doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't. They just got to figure out, is Trick about to win the TNA World title so they can give him that? Or are they going to do what they've been doing to Trick ever since they realized, we should probably be moving him up to the main roster, which is, I don't know, lose all the matches. God knows they did that with everyone else.
That's how it typically goes.
Yeah. So this is just another world title match that Trick can lose. Does has Trick won anything important in the last little while?
He was the champion to start the year. He lost the title at New Year's Evil, right?
He lost the title at New Year's Evil.
Yeah.
And since then,
I know
not much has happened. Trick beat Eddie Thorpe quickly in NXT Underground. Eddie Thorpe won that strap match of Vengeance Day. He's just been in a bunch of tag matches. They ain't doing much with him. Beat Kel Dixon in 9 seconds, beating the shit out of him. They haven't. Trick has not done much. He just exists.
He was in the Stand and Deliver match. He was challenging for the title. Now he's in a feud with Joe Hendry.
No, I mean they haven't done. He hasn't done any one-on-one stuff since the Eddie Thorpe story.
Yeah.
It's only been Eddie Thorpe. The Wes Lee match was a DQ at Center Stage. Yeah, and then he did the triple threat, which again, it completely flummoxed a bunch of us because Oba versus Trick was something so many people were just clamoring for, and then they put in Javon because he's hot. Javon Evans is absolutely doing a great job, but they just never did Femi and Williams one-on-one, and then they teased it again. And then they took it away again. It's this weird dangling carrot that they keep doing. Anyway, Trick could win. I don't think he will. The more I think about it, I don't think he will.
I think he will.
No, they want to make Joe Hendry the guy, right? Well, instead, they could treat him like Josh Alexander allegedly was treated on the way out. So Josh Alexander had a conversation with our pal Justin over at Wrestling Classic, his casual conversation show. And when Josh was asked about TNA making an offer or not on the way out, he said, quote, "I had the meeting with TNA the year before and they picked up my option. They were like, we really want to keep you. Okay, guys, I would be doing myself and my family a disservice by not seeing what else is out there from a financial and opportunity perspective. You guys come to the table with an offer. I love this place." He's talking about TNA. "I love the locker room. Part of me was like, I don't want to leave, but it doesn't make sense to stay if it's not in the same ballpark. They never made me an offer. Ever. They took that and were like, okay, he's leaving. Okay, even though he had conversations several times, just make me an offer, guys. They never did. Obviously, I went and talked to two other companies, and I had my decision there. Sorry, I had to make my decision there. I chose AEW. It was the right fit for me and my family. Very happy to be there." So Josh Alexander Josh Alexander saying that TNA had never offered him another deal after this one was coming to an end. After they picked up the option, after all of this, they never even tried to match, counter, nothing. Josh is making it sound like TNA just said, "Thanks for coming, bye." Very interesting. Very strange situation for Josh. He's clearly in AEW. He's clearly being featured in AEW, which is great. But you would expect that someone who was the face of that company, TNA, that he would be given an opportunity to remain there if he so chose.
it sounds like TNA just figured he was gone and they didn't bother, which is kind of dumb, honestly. Like, even if you think he's gone, at least give him an offer. Maybe they didn't want to insult him. Maybe they didn't want to. I don't know Josh Alexander's money, but maybe let's say AEW was offering $1 million. I'm just using easy numbers here. Maybe they didn't want to be like, oh, we're only going to offer you 500,000, because that could be viewed as insulting. Of like, you're going to offer me half of what I'm making over here. And maybe they didn't want to do that. That's the only way I can really look at it from a TNA perspective of why they wouldn't make an offer. Because otherwise, they should probably at least put something in and just see if he does want to stick around, considering he's been a big part of the company. But it sounds like they thought he was just leaving, and they decided, all right, well, we're not even gonna try on this. But you should probably try.
Yeah, it's a matter of respect. It's a matter of just saying, you know, we can't necessarily match what our competitors are offering, but if you decide to stay with us, we have these, you know, things to offer, plus this is the money, and you can say no, but we also want to act in good faith and at least tell you, like, if you take this deal, you're hypothetically, maybe you're the highest paid wrestler on the TNA roster, whatever it is. Like, I don't necessarily think they should go and say that, but they should certainly explain that, like, this is like our max level deal or whatever we can do, and this is why we offer it at this rate, blah blah blah. You work X amount of dates compared to the other companies where you're expected to do a little more, and if you want to do that, you can do that. Whatever. I don't care what they say to sell it. Make an offer. It's very strange to just say, well, he was planning to leave anyway. That's great. If you think he's planning to leave, you should at least try to retain him. Here's a really simple, like, easy to think about, you know, connection or variation on it. You ditch your cell phone provider. You go to a different one because you get a better deal. Maybe it's cheaper. They offer you more minutes, data, whatever. Then your old company, your old provider calls you up and says, hey, we want you back and we'll pay you X amount to come back to us, and we'll offer you a deal that has this, this, and this. Maybe that deal is not nearly as good as the one you have, but you still make the call because you never know. Maybe the company you're with, maybe the service isn't as good and you just want to get out and go back to the other one. They're offering you that opportunity. They'll pay your termination fees, whatever. That's what you do. Whether you get laughed in your face and they say, no, this isn't good enough, that's fine, but you don't know until you try it. And I don't understand, if this is how it went, why TNA didn't at least sit down and make an offer. They did it to Ospreay, knowing full well that it wasn't going to. CM Punk is another one. They talked to these people and knowing full well, like, this is a very pie in the sky type of mentality. But at least they tried. At least they talked. It's very strange. I don't know what the expectation was.
Again, maybe they didn't want to feel like they were insulting him by coming up with a offer that was below the other offers. And, you know, he mentioned, like, you know, if it's in the same ballpark, you know, he would be kind of willing to hear things out. Maybe they couldn't get in the same ballpark. You know, AEW is in a Globe Life Stadium. They're in that ballpark. TNA ain't been in a ballpark in a while now. So maybe they couldn't get in the same ballpark.
Maybe they got the Savannah Banana ballpark.
I feel like those are pretty big. Like, don't they do pretty well?
Oh, they do very well, but the physical ballpark is smaller physically than Globe Life Stadium.
Okay.
I hear you, and I agree with you. At the same time, you gotta, in my opinion, you have to at least make the offer in good faith and knowing that you're a different company. And you can lead with that. You can say, like, we know that you're looking at your options, but we still want to give you an option. This is our package. We just want you to know that, like, we care about you enough to at least try. And I think that nobody's time is wasted. If Josh decides to say, no, this isn't for me, at least he can say they tried. That's how I would have taken it. I wouldn't have necessarily taken the deal given how much more money the other companies have over TNA, but at least they would have said, you were our champion. You carried our brand. You helped us rebuild. You deserve to at least be heard. And this is what this is what we are prepared to offer as a thank you for that.
I'm with you. I think they should have made an offer. I don't know why in that situation you wouldn't, but they didn't. And Josh is in AEW and doing well in AEW.
The only thing that makes me think TNA was just like, now forget it, was the debacle with the option. Because when they picked it up, if you recall, Josh wasn't exactly in love with it. This is just after Scott had been fired. And obviously Scott and Josh were very tight. And he said, he said it without saying it, but effectively Josh was not super happy with the option being picked up because he had specifically asked not to be. And then TNA decided to pick it up. So maybe just the vibe was off and they decided, okay, we don't need to stretch this out any longer. But it also felt like Josh was still doing great work in TNA for that last year. He was still coming to work, being a professional and trying his best. And he still cared about the promotion. He still cared about the locker room. I just don't know where the disconnect was that TNA decided not to talk, decided not to do anything about the end of his deal.
The option thing makes sense, but as Josh said, there were conversations over the last year where he said he was at least willing to hear them out, and didn't happen.
Yeah, this is all Barry Bloom's fault. It's true. Gates got it. Barry Bloom, AEW's star to the stars. Your hospital beeper is going off.
Oh.
We're gonna fix that. Yeah, they said we ain't paying that. And I get it. Again, like from a financial standpoint, there was a reason for what they offered or didn't offer. But like you still gotta offer something. Just do something. Yeah, you're gonna fix that thing?
I mean, I tried. I don't know. I can't hear it, so I don't know if it gets fixed, Joel.
Oh, that's fine. I was trying to talk over you fixing it.
Okay. I mean, I'm doing what I can.
I got you. Gonna slot it out. He's gonna plug it back in. Yeah, that's good.
I don't know. Okay. We'll see how long.
It's just a light murmur now.
No.
Yeah, let's go. So Elijah showed up. Speaking of light murmurs, Elijah showed up on TNA. I know you were very excited about this.
Was I?
Yes. You wanted it to be the thumbnail and everything, remember?
Yeah.
We talked about this at the top of the show.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny.
He shows up, 12-string guitar this time. Don't know why. It's more strings to keep in tune when you're trying to play a song out in the ring. But God bless him, he tried. I love that everyone went immediately to the Kevin Owens roots. Kevin Owens must be freaking out at home, all that stuff. It was funny. People trying to say Elias, and everyone else was saying, no, it's Elijah, it's Elijah. I think this is really one of the first main roster stars to cross over that wasn't Dana Brooke. I don't count the Ash by Elegance show up. Has there been one that I'm missing?
I mean, a man who defeated Chris Jericho at WrestleMania.
Nah, I don't count him. He's JDC now. He's different.
What are you doing? I'm giving you names and you're not counting them.
I don't count him. JDC doesn't count. Elijah's one of the higher profile ones from the last little while. Certainly one of the newer ones. It was a bit of a surprise. But again, you go back to the whole Trick Hendry. The only person who didn't show up was Frankie Kazarian. But Elijah came out and he had his little spot with Trick. And it was what it was. Yeah, JDC erasure. That's what I do. What's he going to do? Show up and have a great match with Mike Santana? He did that. Match was fantastic. They bled a lot. Hardys, I don't count either. They don't count. The Hardys they're not WWE. They've never been there. They've only been NXT.
Just not counting people who are clearly there. Okay, sure.
Yeah, we fix the story to fit our narrative. That's what we've learned.
Are you saying you're controlling your narrative?
I am, in fact, controlling my narrative.
No, okay.
Coming soon to a rant room near you. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Sorry, we're back. Elijah shows up. He's gonna do what he does. But never give him a 12-string guitar ever again. Just don't. Everyone's waiting.
He only plays one note.
He does. He plays one chord, and that's about it. And then he does his little match battle royal thing. Everyone's still waiting on Elijah to turn on Joe Hendry and just be done with it. Can we get to that match already?
I don't know what's gonna happen.
If they don't do this, this is up there with the Trick and Oba lost moments.
Yeah, they're not doing a one-on-one match between Trick and Oba is weird.
I don't know. Some people in the chat have been like, yeah, because they know it's going to be awful. And I know that like SP3's in the chat. I know that he's going to be absolutely, it would suck. And I get that because Oba isn't exactly the guy who has long matches. He's a guy who has, sprint matches. Not talking about the cell provider. I'm talking about sprints to the finish.
Yeah, but still, like, it doesn't need to be a long match. They did 10 minutes with Oba and Eddie Thorpe. Like, the triple threat match wasn't that long. Like, his matches are sprint matches. Like, it's fine. Just do the one-on-one match. It's weird.
It should. It is weird. Xenowire was saying he got a huge pop. Listen, anyone who shows up in Florida gets a huge pop. If they have any experience with WWE or they're just pretty, they get a huge pop. Sorry.
What are you doing?
It was my Booker T impression again. What, you never heard Booker T?
No, I've heard. I know what he does.
He didn't do it last night because he didn't get to.
Yeah.
Jada Parker's about to get the shit kicked out of her by Thea Hale. That's really the main event story.
That was a weird thing.
What about it was weird? The fact that Jada Parker is upset about everything, or the fact that Thea Hale is going to beat Jada Parker? Because that part rules.
No, I don't think Thea Hale's going to win, unfortunately.
How dare you?
She should, but I just don't think it's going to happen. It was like the ending of that whole thing was like weird. Like Carmen like tried to do the kick, and I don't know if it hit Jada or if she moved, and then they like rolled out of the ring. This is awkward. I don't know anyone who thought that.
No, you're probably not. It's just it's NXT. Everything is awkward.
Okay, I just thought it was like an awkward little thing that they did.
Yeah, well, yeah. Is Ashanti the Adonis going to come back and side with Jada Parker next? Keep bringing him up on the show.
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
He certainly didn't show up during the Carmen thing because he's, I guess, selling the effects of whatever that kick was a couple weeks ago or last week. Thea Hale's got to win that match, though.
I would like that to be the case. I just don't think it's going to happen.
She's got to show up with a coffee and a donut or coffee and a croissant. Eat them both, or eat the coffee cup too. I don't care. Just polish everything off and then beat Jada Parker. That's it. I think that's the answer. I think that's what we need to do. And then she should win $100,000. Well, allegedly Ashanti was in the Battle Royal. I'd love to tell you that I believe you, but I don't. I don't believe that it happened.
Yeah, Joel never did it. He's a coward.
Yeah, it's fine. It happens. What else happened on NXT? There was the main event. Julia and Jordan Grace was fantastic. Yeah, they had a fantastic match. Right at the opening when Julia gets dropped on her head and everyone freezes. I think something got awoken in Julia in that moment. Except for that, they did one spot where Jordan had Julia up for some sort of some sort of slam, some sort of inverted something, and she's just yelling like ah. It was very funny and very strange, but it was a really solid match with Julia and Jordan Grace. Happy to see that. But yeah, the nailing on her head, whew, that was a moment. So we're gonna see Jordan Grace, and is it? Oh my God, who won that match? Jordan Grace won the match.
You just said Jordan Grace.
Jordan Grace and Stephanie Vaquer are gonna go one-on-one. I had a moment where I was just like, wait a minute, who won that match? But yes, we're looking forward to that. And backstage, they did a little thing with Jordan Grace before the match, and Lash Legend and Izzy Dame kind of show up. They're both very tall next to both Jordan Grace and I think it was who was interviewing her. Oh my God, she was Quinn McKay in Ring of Honor. Now I forget her name. Kelly McKay?
Kelly Kincaid.
Kelly Kincaid. Yes. Just it was hilarious watching like the height discrepancy. It was like the Twin Towers tag team and then the two little women in between them. It was very funny.
That wasn't. Oh, I guess it was Jordan. I was thinking of the Stephanie Vaquer moment.
Yeah, right. Lola?
Yeah.
That was a weird one. The alarm going off in the background is Jeremy's microphone or something in his crossfire going weird.
I mean, hold on.
He's gonna fix it while he does that. I'm here. Alex thinks Lash and Izzy borrowed Jordan's platform boots, the giant ones, the SpongeBob ones. That's the answer right there.
No, see if that is better. Hopefully, we'll see.
Seems to be.
Okay.
Kind of comes and goes, but we'll see how this goes. Yeah. So, look, Battleground is going to be an interesting show just because it's a few weeks off. They've also gotten the Miles Bourne wins the Battle Royal. That was unexpected, and they're turning that into a story now because you've got Charlie Dempsey who thinks that he should be facing Obafemi, and now they're just going to do Oba versus Charlie next week because Miles Bourne, 2009 Randy Orton, is having a time of his life. I thought it was good. I thought Miles Bourne winning was a nice little surprise there. I don't necessarily think that this match, if it happens to be Bourne and Oba, is going to main event the show. I think they'll give that to Jordan and Vaquer at this point.
Yeah.
But they could also give it to Joe and Trick if they really want to get weird about it.
No,
that might actually telegraph some things. But anyway, they're gonna do potentially Miles Bourne and Obafemi. What do you think of Miles winning the Battle Royal, getting a shot at the NXT title?
SP3 mentioned that Miles Bourne might be a potential winner in that match, and I just thought it was going to be like Javon Evans or Trick, and it was not. It was Miles Bourne. You know, it was a nice surprise, and now we'll see what they do with Miles after this. I don't think he's going to win the title, but I did like the backstage segment afterwards, and his selective hearing, that was good, and Charlie Dempsey trying to get the spot, and then he got a spot next week against Oba, so Oba's probably going to kill Charlie Dempsey next week. But Miles Bourne, like, he's good, and now he's going to be in a big spot against Obafemi, and we'll see if he's able to deliver in this spot. I mean, talking about, we don't trust Trick with like a 10-minute match, like, we're gonna get Miles in this spot, and are we trusting him with that? Like, what's the longest Miles Bourne singles match? Like, I'm not saying you can't do it or anything, but if you're unwilling to put Trick in that spot because you don't trust him, what are we doing with Miles Bourne in that spot?
What is the longest match he's ever had? Are you looking it up?
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if he's had like a singles match on TV, truthfully. Like,
Fair.
At least not in recent time. His last singles match on TV was July 2024 against Oro Mensah, and it went 8 minutes. That was his last televised singles match.
All right, then. So this is going to be a sprint.
I hope now that I look it up, Obafemi beat Miles Bourne in the breakout tournament in 2023 in 3 minutes. And they've worked a house show, but it was a while ago. That was August of last year. So there's some familiarity, not like a ton. But yeah, his longest matches are like nothing. They took place on Level Up in 2022.
You got beat in the main event a few times.
Yeah, I mean, sure. He's on main event. That was again over a year ago, though. That was January of 2024. Like, he doesn't have a lot of singles matches on television. So we'll see what he does. And it's not even on television. Like, he doesn't have singles matches at the live events either. He's tagging on the live events as well.
My big question is whether or not this culminates with Miles Bourne being babyfaced and jumped out of NQCC, or do NQCC turn on Charlie Dempsey and kick him out, and they become a trio led by potentially Miles Bourne. They're doing a lot of that though lately. They just did it with the family, right? Stacks just took over. Well, Stacks just left the family, and then Tony D's got nobody with him. So they're starting to break up some of these factions. Metaphor just got disbanded for reasons beyond just breaking them up. And I know you guys talked about that on Monday, but they're starting to kind of break up these factions. I don't know if this is one that they want to break up, or if they have plans for Miles, or if this is leading to a bigger Charlie Dempsey story. I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic that this is a big breakout opportunity for Miles Bourne, though, because people really have gravitated towards him. Okay.
We shall see. We shall see if they can do more with Miles Bourne coming out of this, and it does lead to something else.
Put him in another Bloodsport match.
I mean, he's gonna win.
I kind of would like to see it. Yeah, I'm looking down the same like singles competition, and yeah, it's 8-minute matches, the most he's done. And with Oba, again, it could just be a sprint, it could be a 10-minute match, and that's it.
I mean, I expect it to be like Oba doesn't have long matches, so I think against anybody, it's going to be a sprint.
Yeah, chat mentioning that it's a booking decision that wasn't exactly expected, but it was. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
I wasn't necessarily waiting to see Ethan Page get another title shot.
No, I don't. The only people who made logical sense were Trick or Javon Evans, because that's who he's been intertangled with, and they haven't had a one-on-one shot. So one of them would have made sense. Obviously, with the Trick and Joe Hendry stuff, you see why that didn't happen. I still think Javon would have made sense and could have been a really good match. They're now doing still stuff with Javon and Ethan Page, and now Sean Spears is involved. I don't know what they're doing with Javon. It feels like they just won't go with him, and they probably should. We'll see what he has at Battleground, if anything. I don't know if he's facing Sean Spears. I don't know if they're gonna do like Javon and Ricky against Ethan Page and Sean Spears. Is that a thing? No idea. I feel like they did something similar to that before. Maybe I'm misremembering.
Ricky wasn't on the show last night, was he?
No. Well, we'll see what they end up doing there. But yeah, besides like Trick and Javon, you look at everybody else in that match, and I think anybody besides those two would have been a surprise winner. Like Ethan Page, maybe not so much of a surprise because he's at least a former champion, but a surprise in that like Ethan Page and Obafemi doesn't make a ton of sense at the moment. So Miles Bourne, like it was definitely a surprise, because again, there wasn't a whole lot of people in that match that it felt like, oh yeah, this guy's gonna win.
And Dark State pinned the tag champions, which surprised none of us because we talked about that. Dark State gonna win the tag titles next. Is that what we're going for?
Probably.
Feels like that. Yeah. Quick Hank and Tank stop on the way to another heel team holding those tag titles. I don't hate it. People are starting to finally get behind Dark State as a group, and they're not just calling them, Team Who Shield or whatever. They're starting to see that they are an actual group of guys who actually know how to wrestle, and the presentation can be a little cheesy sometimes, but at the end of the day, they're very effective as a group. And I think individually, this is what's funny is when they did the silly family kind of does the profile on all of them, it legitimized the group. There were some things that were kind of joke, but at the end of it, most of us were looking at it being like, okay, these guys actually have backgrounds and characters, and they can now flesh those out. They're not just guys popping from the crowd, beating up whoever, and then moving on to the next one. They're actually starting to get integrated into the NXT stories and giving them a little bit more of a meal. I'm a fan of that. They're going to win those tag titles though, like at Battleground.
Yeah, they're going to lose the titles. I didn't think Hank and Tank were ever a long-term kind of champion. Just they didn't seem like it. And Dark State's probably more of a long-term solution. I don't know how long-term, but longer term than Hank and Tank.
Till Tyson and Tyreek win.
Oh, sure.
I will never give up on my dreams, Jeremy.
I know.
They just cannot. Thank you. Someone has to respect my dreams. Is there anything else from NXT that we should talk about that we missed that's worth talking about?
I don't think so. No,
we got through the main matches. We got through the Battle Royal. We got through Thea Hale, who needs to beat Jada Parker. And that was it. They just, there's a post show. Go watch it. It's on the main channel. Azaria had a match and won, and Sol Ruka was there too. Eventually, they'll do Sol Ruka versus Azaria for the women's North American title. It'll be a respect match, an honorable match, if you will. Chase U Naito. They're refitting Chase U, which I love. I love you've got, Andre Chase wearing the tracksuit, just being like, I can rock with this. I'm like, nope, no, you can't. Please stop. Chase U is just a group that never needs to leave NXT. Just keep it there. Let Andre Chase be the guy and just keep cycling the classes. The new class every time.
So that was one of my pitches that you missed, Joel, was Chase U, Tetsuya Naito transfer student coming into Chase U.
I love it. I love it. Is this before or after stem cells?
I mean, it doesn't matter either way.
He's going to get stem cells treatment while he's in the class?
Maybe. That could happen. It's possible.
Chase U versus the War Dogs. Oh, God. Chase Owens joins Chase U. Andre Chase and Chase Owens become Chase squared. Why would Steve Buscemi join Chase U? Oh, because he's old. Hello, fellow children. Anyway. Oh, that's NXT. I don't have much to bat up with cleanup on Raw. I mean, the big news that really dropped yesterday on Fightful Select, by the way, best 5'9" in the business, is Liv Morgan. We have an update on her schedule here on FightfulSelect.com. She's off filming a movie, but she might not be gone very long. Morgan's off filming a starring role in Bad Lieutenant Tokyo, and on a recent episode of Raw, she'd asked Adam Pearce for time off to film the role. Later that week, it was revealed that she was already headed to Japan to start work on it, and we're told that this, let's try that again. We're told this won't be a situation of Morgan missing months of action. As a result, the wrap date is actually May 16th, and her planned return to the United States on May 17th. We haven't learned when she'll return to WWE TV, but she'll miss a minimum of one more episode of Raw as things stand. So Liv Morgan off filming a movie in Japan. She's going to be back soon, and it's not going to be a big, long time lapse between her appearances on WWE programming. I'm fine with it. She's getting a big breakout role. She's having a good time, and hopefully it's going to be a big opportunity for her. Everyone's clearly excited for this.
Yeah, I don't know how big she's third build on the cast, but when you look at the description, she plays like a kidnapped person. So it makes me believe she doesn't have a ton of scenes overall, and they can get kind of everything done in 2 weeks, and that be that. Like, I don't think it's not a thing of like, I don't think she's an extra. Again, she's third build on the cast. She is an important part of the cast. It just might be her important part just doesn't have a ton of scenes. Again, she's playing someone who's kidnapped. So I can't imagine they're doing like a bunch of scenes with the kidnapping and everything. You probably just do it. You shoot a couple scenes of we have this person, but the story is based around. I'll use a Rush Hour. They kidnapped the daughter, right? Like the daughter was important to the story, but she wasn't in the movie a whole lot. The story was Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker and all that stuff, but the daughter was still like important to the story. So Dakota Fanning in what was that Denzel movie? Man on Fire. That movie ruled. Yeah, that's a good ass movie. Like Dakota Fanning is an important part of the movie, but like that whole movie is Denzel and his quest to get her back and everything. So, but Dakota Fanning still got like top billing in that movie. So I feel like that's sort of where Liv is at with this. I mean, we'll find out once this movie comes out.
Yeah, I don't think anyone was expecting this to be like her as the starring role, but if this is something that gets her on people's radar, she plays it well, then there could be more for her. Good for her, man. People who have these aspirations to go work Hollywood should continue to build on it. And it looks like she's not alone. I mean, Drew McIntyre is reportedly going to be filming a movie, and we've seen MJF, we've seen Becky Lynch, we've seen a lot of wrestlers start to make that crossover, and it's all because of that Dwayne The Rock Johnson guy. He created this opportunity for them. Everyone should be saying thank you, Dwayne.
I don't think it's all him.
John Cena?
I mean, Dwayne did it before Cena. If we're really getting, if we're really getting technical, it's Hogan and Rocky, right? Like
Never heard of him.
That's the first. All right, then Piper and They Live.
There you go. Yeah, I would give it to Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
He's the guy who did it.
You've never heard of Hogan Hulk?
Nope.
Okay, fair.
Nope. Never heard of him. Sounds awful. Jesse Ventura did something. El Santo. Oh, that's the guy who did it. El Santo opened the door for everybody.
Yeah, Jesse Ventura was in Predator. That's true.
Yeah, he'll tell you all about it if you ask him. Stories change every day.
Does it?
I don't know. Speaking of stories, this book is All Elite. AEW announced today that they have the inside story of All Elite Wrestling by Keith Elliott releasing in November of 2025. Jeremy, the books that we were told that will be written about AEW were going to be the demise and death and destruction of AEW. And instead, we're getting a book about the inside story of AEW. It's exciting. Yeah. It's another wrestling book for people to read and get excited about. And
the wrestling fans can't read.
That's true. I met a lot of them. You ask them to spell the word wrestling, and it's RASSLAN. That's wrestling. Are you going to read this book?
No.
No? What if they send you a copy?
Then no.
No? My God.
So I understand why.
Wait, $50? You never mind. I understand.
I understand why they don't have him on the cover. But to not have Cody Rhodes on the cover makes me question, like, what's in this book. Like, is Cody part of this? He talked to? It feels like that's what I want to read it for, is the story of that. Because if you don't have Cody in this, and it's not the full story.
Maybe it's worth asking Keith Greenberg.
I mean, it's possible. Like, there's no real description yet about it, so we don't know. And again, he's not on the cover, which is questionable. Cody he was one of the 4 founders. He's one of the 4 EVPs. Everybody else on the cover makes sense. Like, I understand why they are there, but you can't tell this story without Cody Rhodes. You just can't.
Yeah, for those who haven't seen the cover, you got Moxley, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Chris Jericho, Britt Baker, Darby Allin, Karashida, and who's coming off top rope there? Is that Hangman?
Yeah,
I think you're right. Yeah, you're right. And I was gonna say, is that Swerve? But no, that's definitely Hangman. Yeah, those are the cover arts members, people who have been with AEW since day one. But you're right. You absolutely have Cody, who was a big part of that for the beginning of AEW. The Punk thing, like, I don't know if that's something you're going to want to broach because it's not from the beginning of AEW.
But it says it's the history of the first 5 years.
I see that.
You got to mention the Punk stuff. Like, whether it's a good topic or not, you have to.
Well, they made it TV, like they made it a TV canon piece. The Jack Perry stuff. You had the announcement of his departure by Tony Khan at the tapings, like at Chicago. It is part of their story. It is part of the reality of what AEW has done. It can't be a only positive stories AEW book, because historically they have not been all sunshine and rainbows. And any good historian can point out the positives and the negatives. Otherwise, it's just a propaganda piece.
So we shall see what it looks like. No, I agree. SB3 is, maybe they do mention Cody, but we don't know because there's no full description yet. I still think it's questionable to leave him off the cover. I get it. I mentioned that. I get it because he's not with the company anymore. it's still a little questionable. Like Punk, I understand more because when you look at the cover, it is like the old shots of Jon Moxley, the old shots of Kenny Omega, the old shots of Chris Jericho. Like they're using the 2019 version of these people. So I understand not having like Punk on the cover. Still think Cody should be there. I get why he's not. Is he part of the book? Was he interviewed for the book? It's possible they reached out and he declined. Don't know. Like again, there haven't been further details past here's this book and here's the cover. We shall see. Punk, I imagine if he was broached about it, probably declined. Completely within his right. I don't even need, I mean, it would be nice to have the retelling of Brawl Out and Brawl In and all that stuff. Like they're important moments in AEW history, but let's take them out. You can't tell the story of AEW without CM Punk's return. That's one of the biggest moments in wrestling history, much less AEW. Like CM Punk returning to pro wrestling in August 2021 and signing with AEW. That's got to be part of the book.
Yeah, I've told this story. That was SummerSlam weekend, and a bunch of us sat in a hotel room in Vegas and were like watching Rampage specifically to see that moment. That almost took away from whatever else was going on that Friday night. SmackDown didn't matter. It was all about CM Punk's return to wrestling, and we all had our eyes glued to the TV for that. It was a moment, and it was a big moment. They should be celebrating that moment as part of their book. Whatever happens afterwards, yeah, I get it. But like, it's worth bringing up some of that stuff because it's part of their history, for better or worse. They brought CM Punk back. What happened afterwards is completely a different story. But he was excited and he was fired up and clearly wanted to be a part of this show.
I think there will be interviews of like past stuff Cody might have said, stuff like that. We shall see. We shall see.
Yeah, like Kate's pointing out, WWE probably wasn't going to let Cody's likeness be on the book to help them sell it. That's completely possible.
Yeah,
completely possible. That being said, if Cody is nowhere to be found in the book, I wouldn't love that either. I think Grays had mentioned maybe they'll use old quotes that Cody has made about AEW. They could do that. But again, it'll all come out when the book comes out and when they start doing more media and giving more information. I'm sure once the press versions go out, we'll be talking about it. But the big questions are, Cody, Punk, huge, monumental pieces of the AEW puzzle, and how much are they going to discuss their involvement with AEW, especially in those first 5 years?
I mean, they should be heavily discussed.
Yep.
In there. Like if it's the story of AEW, you can't tell the origin story of AEW without Cody Rhodes. You just can't.
Yeah, exactly. Kate saying the big thing here is that Keith is very nice and deserves the bag. Well, then get Keith on our show to talk about it so we can grill him about what he didn't put in the book.
I'm sure we could honestly message Keith and probably get him on this show.
Yeah, might be worth it. We'll see. By the way, the anonymous ITW general manager did pipe in and say, Andre the Giant in The Princess Bride, what's wrong with you people?
Never seen it.
Really? Man,
Yeah.
Straight though.
Never seen it.
Definitely opened up some doors. Andre was huge. Those doors opened up real fast. Big dude.
MJF not being on the cover is a little strange.
That is a little strange. He rose to prominence through that company. Won the title and everything. Had it for a year.
I mean, yeah, he's the longest reigning AEW champion. I don't know who you take off in that instance because Darby and Hangman like also make sense, and they're using action shots of them, and the action shots of MJF would be, I don't know, a side headlock. So I don't know if they have like a good action shot of MJF.
I disagree with taking Britt off. I think having Britt and Sheeta are two members of that roster for definitely the first 3 years who were monumental for that division.
I think, and when you look at the layout of the cover, I think they like the symmetry of having the two women there. Yeah. And so having MJF in one of their place, I don't think they wanted to do anything like that. I think because again, it's Here's John Moxley on one side. Here's Kenny Omega on the other side. All right, the first, or not the first two world champions, but two important figures in AEW and headlining the shows that they headlined early on. Young Bucks in the middle makes sense. Chris Jericho, center focus, makes sense. First champion. Britt and Sheeta, the two kind of women pillars early on, and then action shots of Darby and Hangman. So it's like, where would MJF fit in there outside of an action shot of, but I don't think they have a great action shot of him.
You know how you get your cake and eat it too? Darby being head scissor takeovered by MJF in their match.
Okay.
That's how you do it. There's the action shot, and you get both Darby and MJF on the cover. There it is. I fixed it.
Okay.
And maybe Hangman and Swerve doing an action thing. Just a hypodermic needle coming out of Swerve's face. But like, yeah, everything else fits. Like you cannot tell the story of AEW to start from a title standpoint without Kenny and John Moxley. And then Jericho, of course, is there because Jericho was the first big major signing that wasn't part of the Elite to join AEW. The Bucks of the Bucks. Like everyone here makes sense. I know that Britt's going to raise some eyebrows, but at the same time, she absolutely has a place on this cover and on this story because she was a huge integral part of AEW in those first 3 years. She should be there.
Yeah.
Should we talk about AEW Dynamite tonight? I don't have much else on the list here.
Do you have comments on releases?
So it was Friday night. I was still at home. I didn't watch SmackDown. I was mostly just covering releases stuff. Honestly, the first thing I said was, with Dakota Kai, something you said, they had her do Mania Media. And this is how they repay her. She wasn't on the card at Mania. She wasn't part of the show. Io Sky she came out alone, I'm pretty sure, at that show at Mania. And a lot of these people are going to land on their feet. Some of them already have. I've seen that. Hoping that wasn't a fit. Did I see that Elena Black signed with Paragon already?
That seems to be what it is because she has a Paragon email. There hasn't been like an official announcement, but people have surmised that. Yes.
Yeah, I'm seeing that right now. It's her pin tweet is a Paragon email. So people are going to start landing on their feet and doing what they want to do. Some people are going to move on in wrestling, and some people aren't. This is unfortunately the same story we continue to tell and the same conversation we continue to have. There's so many people who deserve better opportunities than the ones they're given. The Shotzi conversation we had on Friday was something that like I didn't want to say because I don't want to talk about people losing their jobs or people leaving their jobs or anything like that. But the video to me at the time really did feel like she was saying, this is it and I'm moving on and I'm going to do my own thing because I've evolved as a character. But at the same time, I didn't want to be like, she's leaving and she deserves to leave. No, Shotzi's going to do what Shotzi wants to do. She's already gotten interest, which is great. But it's just an ongoing frustration that if you're a fan of certain wrestlers, you don't know how they're going to be treated. You don't know how they're going to be presented or if they're going to be presented. We saw a lot of foreshadowing when it came to the Metaphor stuff I mentioned earlier. They broke up Metaphor just to release half of them, which is something. And yeah, it was frustrating in some ways. There are a lot of opportunities for WWE to shape their divisions better and shape their talent better. We talked about this on Friday that SmackDown became a 3-hour show, and what happened? The best we got was Chelsea Green being Chelsea Green, which is great. But if they're only going to build one talent out of that, then what's the point? Go back to 2 hours and just keep doing what you're doing. Now you don't have Bloodline stuff taking up half of the show. You, once again, revitalize, have an opportunity to showcase talent and build talent. And then there's the reality that they have so many people working for that company. They have so many people that they continue to hire on, and it's a talent turning factory. And if you don't compete or get to their level, then they just say goodbye, and that's the end of that. There's always somebody waiting in the wings. You're here to take a spot, not earn a spot. We talked about that too. So their releases, it sucks in the moment. You feel for the talent because some of them, this is their dream and this is what they want to do. And for others, they are people who were scouted, given the opportunities, and they're either thankful for them or they're like, all right, on to the next one. We can only hope that they take these opportunities and they use the skills that they were given and learned to do what they do next. That's kind of my general thoughts on the matter. Again, the Dakota Kai thing was just perplexing. Putting her on Media Row just to do that. Glad I had a good chat with her because, you never know when you get to actually have those official on camera conversations. On the indies, it's a little easier. You really do just hit up the talent and do it. But yeah, it is what it is. We're stuck. I don't know. What we're stuck. We're stuck with the same shit every time. Where they do this. I'm not saying we're stuck. I mean, we as fans, reporters, people who talk about wrestling, like we're stuck with the same go around each time. And it's hard to be, I will never get the level of upset that some people get to, or maybe it's performative in some cases on socials. Some people are just really big fans of some of these people that get released, and like that's their prerogative. They're going to be fans of the people they want. But it's just it's just a thing that we continue to see, and it sucks feeling like you can't do much other than say, this sucks that it happens, and they should be treated better. It's almost desensitizing in a way after a while.
What will Joel Pearl's reaction be when Elena Black enters the Impact Zone?
If I don't see this, I'll be happy.
Maybe she won't do that anymore. She's like, that's a WWE thing. I don't have to do it.
If she goes back to, again, I've put over Elena Black as a deathmatch wrestler the way I saw her before she became Cora Jade, before she came to WWE. If she is that person again, I would love to see that. I think that for a lot of these talent who had wrestling backgrounds, coming back to the indies will give them a different kind of opportunity. Taking what they learned from WWE and then also putting on the matches that they want to have. Those are the people that I'm really looking forward to seeing flourish.
Okay.
Yeah. Shayna Baszler was also, people got upset about that, which I understand completely. Shayna was in a mood at Bloodsport. Not saying like good or bad, but like you could just tell that there was just a mood with her when she came out there. Go back and watch it, and you'll just. Some people will be like, "Oh, it looks like typical Shayna." I'm just like, there was something there with Shayna. You can almost tell that for some of these people, men and women, who were on Bloodsport, it was like, I'm happy to be here, but I should be doing more. It was a very interesting kind of evening to be watching that show.
Okay.
King Potato saying apparently the timeline on the AEW book is from their debut to the first Wembley show.
All right. I mean, that doesn't take away anything from our conversation because CM Punk was part of all that, and Cody Rhodes was part of all that. I know it wasn't part of the first Wembley show, but there was 2 years of CM Punk from 2021 to the Wembley show, and there was 3-4 years of Cody Rhodes from the start of the company to his departure.
Yep, that all existed. So there you go. We're gonna get more info. We'll find out soon what happens. But yeah, the Elena Black thing. I know we've made fun of it, but she'll land. She'll clearly land on her feet. A lot of these talent will.
She's
some
only
of them
24.
She's only 24. A lot of them are young. A lot of them are just getting their feet wet in wrestling, and she's been doing it since she was 16. Like she's been doing it a long time. But some of them are going to move on, and some of them are going to move away from wrestling. And that's entirely their prerogative, what they want to do. So let them be successful wherever they go. And I just hope none of them start a grifter podcast. You hear me? There are enough of those.
They're all going to just start podcasts. Like,
what's life like behind the WWE PC? I actually like Maven. He actually does a good job. Most of his stuff is fun. But yeah. Do you see the one where he's talking with his partner?
No.
He did a not a wife reveal because they're not married, but they've been together for a long time. They did a whole questionnaire video. I watched that because I was curious because he mentioned he's married or with somebody, has been for a long time. It's a good video. It's cute. They ask all the usual questions. You know, why is Maven so handsome? Why did you choose Maven? How did you two meet? And why is Maven so handsome? It's turned into one of those. It was just Maven satiating his ego with his partner in the room. That's the way I would do it.
Fair.
Oh, all right. What else is left on today? Is there anything else that we got to talk about before we get to Dynamite?
I don't think so.
Perfect.
I assume you have nothing on New Japan that you would like to speak about.
It is a company in Japan that held a 2-night show that SP3 discussed.
Okay.
There are reviews available from other parts of the show. I've been away. I've been not at my desk. I'm back now. I'll be back talking about wrestling. Talk about Raw real quick because I didn't get to talk about it on Monday. The Paul Heyman segment I thought was very good. One with Jey Uso. I know a lot of people have stood up for that one, said it was very good. Paul turning all the way red and then Jey being like, "Bro, you okay?" I thought that was very funny. It was like this mix of like funny in the moment, but also like Paul was trying to be really serious and really heelish, and then you turn it into a joke, but that's kind of the Jey Uso way. So I was kind of not upset by it, but in the moment I was like, all right, this works. Doing the Seth Rollins match unannounced didn't make me think they were going to change the title because right away Jey Uso had already been like, "Logan Paul, I'm here." And I'm like, right, we have Logan somewhere wanting to take on Jey Uso, and they're going to do that match. They're not going to do that match. So Seth winning kind of felt like we were going to have someone get involved, and clearly it was CM Punk. Crowd was into that. I think Raw was again pluses and minuses, but overall a good show. Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch's promo was solid. I continue to say that given the opportunities to cut these promos, I think Lyra's knocking a lot of them out of the park, and she's showing that she's more than just Bird Lady. They're giving her more to work with. They're letting her do more. She had a little heel moment where she was like running down the first for Becky and then did the whole first women's intercontinental show. "Oh, that's me." And I'm like, wait a minute. That's not a babyface thing to say. And then saying Becky will always be second place. She's trying to assert dominance. She's trying to be the new top woman in WWE, or at least on Raw. So like I understood the placement. Just in the moment, I was like, that's not a nice thing to say. You're so nice, Lyra Valkyria. But
she needs to, stand up to Becky. Becky's being a little jerk.
That's right. Shouting out Sports Illustrated writers, making her #1 on listicles. I see you, Sid Puller III. But shout out to SB3. I thought that was a moment. I laughed when our collective pals in chat got very excited that the shout out went down. Good for Bex shouting out the real ones. And yeah,
Edge is going to be Cope. Cope is going to be on AEW soon, and saying Sports Illustrated ranked me higher than Randy Orton, and then he's going to have a big old debate with FTR over who should have been higher. FTR will go to bat for Orton, although they like Cope, not anymore, as they turn babyface, but they're gonna go to bat for FTR,
as they should.
Yeah,
they should. FTR KO was monumental.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I said, Raw was fine. The Gunther Pat McAfee stuff was what it was. This is a strange story because I'm not alone in feeling like this is just all in service of getting Goldberg back. And that's kind of where we're heading after. If Pat McAfee suddenly wins this match, and a lot of people are going to be mad. I'll put it like that. But it should be Gunther beating the shit out of Pat, and then maybe Michael Cole. This was what I really want to happen. The jar of candy, remember SummerSlam 2000?
Yeah.
They did Taz versus Jerry Lawler, and they had blinded, or JR had been injured, blinded, whatever, and then JR takes the bowl of candy, the jar of candy, smashes it over Taz's head. I feel like we should do that. Michael Cole blasts Gunther with a jar of candy. And then Gunther gets fat again because he eats all the candy that was smashed over his head.
You know what should happen in this match?
What's that?
Should do your old favorite, Joel. Pat McAfee punts Gunther in the dick. You know, he's got a very strong leg, an NFL punter. Like punts him in the dick, and Gunther just can't move. He's just paralyzed. And Michael Cole should come in and pin Gunther. And Michael Cole wins the match. And Gunther, he hangs out with Sabrina Carpenter on the Met Gala carpet or something. I don't know. But I think Michael Cole should beat Gunther. That's what I'm really getting at here.
Kind of like when Alexa Bliss beat Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael Cole should sit on him the same way. I could see it happening. I just want to see Gunther get punted in the dick. That's what we're going towards. But yeah, that's fine. If it's the harbinger of Goldberg is Pat McAfee. Someone had said if Goldberg's gonna be on the Pat McAfee show in the next 7 days, then we know something's up. But yeah, fine. Where do you do the Goldberg match? That's a Saudi match to me.
No, they're not doing it in Saudi.
Is that a SummerSlam match?
Yeah, potentially Summer. It's a 2-night. It's a 2-night SummerSlam. So yeah, SummerSlam probably makes the most sense. They're not doing it in Saudi. When are they going to Saudi again? Because Crown Jewel's in Australia.
So June, July has always been a landing point. May, June, July has always been one show, and then the other one was normally in October. But October is the Perth show, like you mentioned.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I think they're doing 3 shows there next year because they're doing the Rumble, right?
So
Isn't that next year?
It is next year. So I think they are doing 3 shows there next year, and they're doing 1 show this year as a result of that. And the Rumble is kind of
probably November. They'll probably go to Saudi. They've done November in the past.
So May, you just have this show, and then June is Money in the Bank. Or no, there's no show in June.
No, there's Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank is June, and then July. So then it's July. There's no official show.
Yeah.
Other than Evolution is a rumored show that was scheduled in July.
Yeah, so maybe.
Yeah, rumor going around is Night of Champions, and that was something at the end of June.
Okay.
So that's kind of where my brain was going into June, July. You have a Saudi event.
All right, that makes sense.
So I had made the joke way back when Goldberg was talking about coming back for his retirement match, and people were like, "Oh, WrestleMania." I was just like, I hear Saudi is a beautiful place at the end of June, and no traction. So I hope y'all get ready for that, because I do think Goldberg's going to do it in Saudi because that's a huge ass payday for him.
It's a payday regardless. I don't think he's doing Saudi. I don't think he wants to do Saudi.
Going out there. Loves it. Treated like a god out there. It's very strange.
I don't think he wants to do Saudi.
You'd think the Jew in Saudi wouldn't get treated well, but I guess Paul Heyman and Goldberg will tell you otherwise.
I don't think he wants to do Saudi. Like he said he's had good experiences there and everything. I feel he said as much, like he's doing it in America.
Did he say he's doing it in America?
I'm pretty sure. I've covered a lot of Goldberg stuff. Hold on.
Ryan saying he's wrestling on Speed is the most right answer you can think of.
That would be great.
Goldberg should win the Speed title. He was made for that title. Don't forget, we're going to win the Golden Globe for Best Podcast. Hashtag ITWFYC.
Goldberg against Goldberg on Speed would be good, actually. He is the originator of Speed. So
some say that the World Heavyweight Championship was born out of the Speed title.
Yeah. Okay,
anything?
I'm looking.
Okay.
Again, I've covered a lot of Goldberg, so
that's a problem. Goldberg last match in America.
Yeah, I've done all of this stuff. It just said the summer, which is one thing.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah. Hold on. I clicked the wrong article. Okay.
Yeah, Ryan's asking if they have a show in Atlanta. That's something that I thought about originally, but I don't think they're doing any major events in Atlanta. Unless they make like a Saturday night's main event in Atlanta, and that's a huge night for them. When's the next time they're in Atlanta? Let's find out while you're looking this up. They're in Savannah for SmackDown May 23rd. Lexington, Kentucky. I don't see anything. Don't see any Atlanta. Nope. So there you go. No Atlanta because it doesn't matter. Did you find anything?
It just mentioned of like if it had to go down and I'm misreading his quote. So I don't see anything, but I swear he has said like he wants to do it in the United States. Again, I've covered so much Goldberg that like a lot of it just runs together for me, but I don't think when I've heard him talk about it, he makes it seem like it's a United States thing and not a Saudi thing.
All right. We'll see what they do. Regardless, it's going to happen soon. I think they'll be in Saudi at the end of June. That's what I've been thinking and saying. Hasn't been announced yet officially, but I think that's more likely what will happen. Shall we preview AEW Dynamite tonight?
Yes.
Detroit, Michigan, and the Masonic Temple Theater host AEW Dynamite tonight and AEW Collision tomorrow. That's right. Live Dynamite, live Collision. What does that mean for a TNA post show? Beats me.
No one's worried about TNA post show.
The dog collar match, Jeremy. The dog collar match. By the way, I was right on about Wednesday last week. Everyone was swearing up and down, oh, the All-Star tag is the top billing, so it's going to be the main event. I was like, no, I think it's going to open. And then it opened Dynamite last week. So I was right.
You haven't gotten a chance to gloat because this is your first show since then.
Yes, I have been unavailable or sick or away. Why wasn't I on Friday's show? Where was I?
Right here.
Hello, Sean.
Hello.
My career has hit a point. I'm here to promote a Fightful Select story regarding pro wrestling power slap.
Well, that sounds terrible.
Have you considered not?
I mean, it's a real thing. It is. Zicky Dice posted a little bit about it. I think that Facade did, maybe Marty the Moth, but like trying to spice it up a little bit. And I've talked to people who both are doing it and those who turned it down and why.
Was Tom Waller asked?
I hope not. I just say that. I hope not for the sake of everybody else. But Juicy Finale was. And that's a little horrifying.
Yeah. He'd get some people with he's got some hammocks on him.
You can't ask the Samoans to be part of something like this because everyone else's hands will break.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing. I've got another story I'm sure coming later this afternoon. We've got the Hump at 2 p.m., including Shelton Benjamin burying Hulk Hogan. That is
Benjamin
the thumbnail story.
Yeah.
What is it?
Benjamin Shelton.
Oh, sorry. I just want to make sure I got his name right.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah. Odds on MJF saying Benjamin Shelton tonight?
Fairly high.
Oh, yeah. I feel like they're kind of high.
Yep. Or Lashley Bobby.
Well, no, Trump called him Bobby Lindsley one time.
Well,
maybe that's a thing. I don't want to know what they call MVP, and I don't want to know it because he's the most likely to punch someone.
Yeah.
You want wrestling power slap, you call it MVP.
Yeah. Anyway, pleasure to see you wonderful gentlemen.
Take care of yourself,
Take care, Sean. What is your shirt? Oh, he left.
Yeah, he's gone.
I was very interested in what that shirt was. They look like bunny ears or donkey ears or something.
I don't know. You might pop on again and find out. You just rewind the tape and you can probably find out if you wanted.
He's coming back.
Oh, he's coming back.
Would you ask?
What is your shirt?
Oh, it's this company Fat Boy Fight that sent me stuff like years ago.
Okay.
And I was like, man, their designs are really good. Well, I found out like they just took stock designs that they paid a license for and made shirts off of it, and they went out of business. But honestly, they had some really good stuff. Really good stuff.
It's a cool design. So
they got a lot of cool designs. I got a few of them. But yeah, I would love to just steal the designs ideally, but we'll see about it. See you guys later.
Enjoy your day.
There you go. You got your answer.
Yeah.
Here
to get answers.
It's true. AEW Dynamite tonight. Detroit, Michigan. Rhino's going to be there. He's going to be on all the shows, apparently. They promoted him for Dynamite.
He's going to be an ROH.
He's going to do an ROH match. That's all it is. It's him and Lance Archer are going to have an ROH match at the end of the night. They're going to keep people there just for that. The Young Bucks team up with Ricochet to take on Swerve, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Mark Briscoe. Should be a fun little match. This has to be the match that gets us to the announcement of Anarchy in the Arena, or are we really waiting until the end of next week after the title match in the cage?
Might be the end of next week.
I think maybe you're right. Maybe something happens here that kind of gets us a little bit closer to it. That should be something we work towards, because that Anarchy in the Arena match is coming. It's happening.
They should do full comedy spots in this, like no serious wrestling, just nothing but comedy in this match.
Honestly, literally everyone in this match would be okay with it.
Yeah.
And they'd probably do it. Like Swerve is the only one that people be like, can't believe they're doing this with Swerve. But everyone else, 5 out of 6 guys, they could just get out with it.
Swerve should just like sit out of that. He should just like chill. And Nana should get in the ring instead, because Nana will do the comedy spots.
You should go over to Nana, take his coffee, and just be like, Trey, it's a tag in. Yeah. I'm going to drink your coffee. I'll shill your coffee. You go do the match.
Yeah, Swerve. He's the most violent man in AEW, so he can't do comedy stuff. But so he should like chill, and Nana should get in there and do some comedy spots. Swerve is 100% going to slap Ricochet on his head. 100%.
Yeah, everyone does.
Yeah.
There's going to be 2 bald men in that match, so may as well take advantage of one of them. Will Ospreay is going to have an interview. You'll say over under on how many times you'll say bruv?
Nah, Will Ospreay is a good promo. It'll be good.
I didn't say he wouldn't be, but we do prop bets on this show.
I know. I'm just saying. I think Will Ospreay is a good promo, and I think he'll cut a good promo because he's going to be talking about Hangman and Double or Nothing and All In. So he'll have a lot of fire. Will always has a lot of fire in his promos. So looking forward to it. I like Will Ospreay and his promoing ability.
Will Hangman get involved in the segment? Because I assume this will be in the ring because Jamie Hayter is doing a backstage interview with Renee Paquette, similar to what Renee did with Mercedes last week. So do you get both men who are in the Owen final? Do you get them in the ring together having a little bit of a promo, or is it just Will gets this week and maybe Hangman gets next week, or maybe gets a retort later on in the show?
I think Will does an in-ring thing and Hangman comes out, and then they just both speak.
They both speak. I know what you're saying. Please just stop explaining. Don't tell me because it hurts.
Good song.
Great song. I mentioned the Jamie Hayter interview. Renee Paquette's going to sit down with Jamie Hayter to talk about presumably the Mercedes match and, of course, the road to Double or Nothing and the Owen final. What are you laughing about?
If Jamie Hayter does not make a crack about $100 to text her, then what are we doing? She has to do it.
Everyone else is.
I know Becky did it, and so maybe they don't want to do it because it's like, we don't want to do the same thing Becky just did, but she has to do it. She has to. Henry's saying the Callis family comes out too. I'm kind of thinking Ospreay and Hangman are going to team next week against members of the Don Callis family. That's
Takeshita and Fletcher.
Potentially Josh and Takeshita.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not next week. Maybe it's Collision since they're doing Collision tomorrow night. But I think we're getting an Ospreay and Hangman tag team within the next week.
I think a lot of people should hand Mercedes $100 bills with their phone numbers on them.
I like that.
That's what people should start doing. That's the answer. Actually, I like.
But then she has to text you. Like you don't get the phone number.
Yeah, show me that you really care about your fans. Take my phone number, Mercedes. Do the work.
It's an AI auto-generated.
So I am aware of what it is.
Voice. They should do the bit. Like, who could do it? Like on air. Harley Cameron's the obvious answer.
Yeah, Harley Cameron's the answer.
Harley Cameron's the answer for everything. Tony Storm would actually be fantastic at that, there's like a segment with Tony, and she's like, "I'm gonna call up my challenger for AEW All In. Let's see what she's up to." And she just calls the hotline and gets the automated Mercedes gimmick.
Here are words that rhyme with Mercedes. Mercedes, Cursades. And it's like, none of these are words.
This would actually be really good. Oh, it's got to be Harley or Tony. One of them should 100% do this.
I'm all about it. Actually, you know what? Speaking of Toni Storm, she has a Women's World Championship Eliminator 4-way match. Toni Storm takes on Thunder Rosa, Penelope Ford, and Anna Jay. All of this in service of Megan Bayne beating the shit out of all of these women except for Penelope Ford at the end.
Yeah. I assume Tony's just gonna win. Like, I don't think, but maybe this is how you get Tony a match on Double or Nothing, because otherwise you're only looking at one women's match. So let's say Penelope, who is Tony not defeated out of this group?
She hasn't done the Thunder Rosa match, has she?
Okay.
For the world title. So I feel like Thunder Rosa will pin Anna Jay or Penelope. Oh, probably Penelope Ford.
Yeah. Okay.
This match is just to pin Penelope Ford. That's the weird thing about doing this as a 4-way eliminator match, is that if Toni Storm doesn't eat the pin, Toni Storm still has to have the match against the person that won the match. It's a little, that's diluted, but it's the way they're getting to a women's world title match on the pay-per-view.
Right, but that's why they're doing it.
I know, but it doesn't mean that it's a smart way to do it. I understand why they're doing it. It's just not the way that you can make the argument that like Toni Storm opened it up and said, "I will face whoever, whenever." And then they said, "Okay, well, all these 3 women came to me at the same time." Like, again, I am making headcanon sense of why they do it. But up until now, it had been Toni Storm versus one competitor at a time, her calling out open challenge, well, not open challenge, but open eliminator challenge.
So she's easy to find. So a bunch of people just stepped up to her. Yeah, Joel's getting AEW hate early.
Well, but my favorite is getting AEW hate early. Meanwhile, Henry makes the same point that I made earlier.
No, he's just asking. He's just saying, like, so Tony doesn't have to be pinned. Yeah,
I get it, but like, it's the same.
Henry's just confirming this stuff. He's not complaining. Don't say that, Joel.
Yes, he is. He's pre-complaining.
No,
I knew it. You suck. I hate it.
I think it's the setup. Tony not getting pinned to set up a match of Double or Nothing, because otherwise they have no other women's match for Double or Nothing. So they kind of have to. They kind of need a Toni Storm match on there.
And I really feel like it'll be Storm and Rosa with Penelope Ford eating the pin.
Okay, that's fair.
That's what
potential, possible.
Continental Championship Eliminator match: Kazuchika Okada takes on Kevin Knight. Should be fun. Do you think Kevin Knight's going to come out and say, "I want G1 Okada. I want New Japan Okada-san," like I knew? Is that how he's going to get Okada for this match?
No.
And then Okada's just going to say, "Bitch," and then that'll be the match.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I don't think I'm reaching. I think I'm pointing out some booking proclivities that I wouldn't be a part of. Mimosa Joe takes on Claudio Castagnoli, because when you're challenging for the world title, you have to face everyone else in the Death Riders first.
Yeah,
is this your opening contest, or is this your main event? So that Moxley
probably the main event.
Yeah, just so you can have Moxley come out at the end and do a big show closing angle to promote next week's cage match.
Yeah, it's probably the main event.
That makes sense for me.
Yeah.
Listen, it should be a really fun episode of Dynamite. Everything that's listed here has wheels to it. It looks like it'll be fun. Kai saying middle of the card match. I think it's more likely that the crossover match is the women's 4-way, or even the Okada and Knight match.
Yeah.
I think they'll open up with the 6-man with the Bucks and Ricochet versus Swerve, Speedball, and Briscoe. They'll finish with Joe and Claudio, and then the crossover might just be the Women's World Championship Eliminator match. There you go. We did it. Anything else you need to plug before we get on out of here?
No.
Wonderful. Tomorrow, SP3 and Jeremy are here to break down Dynamite, talk about all that stuff. And then I'm here with SP3 on Friday, because Jeremy is going to be trying to survive Heavy Metal Mania.
We have a guest tomorrow.
That's right, you do. Have you nailed down a time yet?
No. And I'm going to promote it, and now it's not going to happen tomorrow. But that's fine. We allegedly have a guest tomorrow. We have a guest scheduled for tomorrow. Former WWE Intercontinental Champion, former WCW Television Champion, one Johnny B. Bad, aka Mark Marrow, scheduled to join the show tomorrow. Very excited about this.
Sounds lovely. Looking forward to you guys chatting with Mark Marrow as long as that happens. Not Mark Maron, the podcaster. No. Mark Marrow, the former wrestler. Turned motivational speaker. Apparently he's very engaging as a speaker.
Yeah, so looking forward to chatting with Mark Marrow.
That'll be SP3 and Jeremy tomorrow, and then SP3 and I are on for Friday. SP3 and I are going to meet at the summit on Friday, and we are going to talk nicely to each other. We're not going to bury each other. We're going to say nice things to each other.
Boring.
Yeah, well, you'll be trying to not die at a metal concert.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess he and I are going to talk about Collision in TNA. That'll be fun. So you're good. Go away. Don't come back on Friday. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll actually have stuff to talk about on Friday.
That'll be nice. So for Jeremy Lambert, you know who he is. You know who I am. Ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary. You good?
Yeah, I don't want you to know who I am.
Good. Don't know who he is. I just want you to know who I am. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.